morning, family. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Y'all up early this morning. I was almost overslept. I was tired. But I just had to, y'all motivated me to hurry and get your butt up and get on time. Jacob Joy. Hey, Joy. Long time no see. What's going on, Joy? Hope everything is well. All right. If you know the drill, if y'all are ready to say go, or you want me to wait a second, go. Another thing I meant to ask you guys, if I should have been doing this from the beginning, but if you guys think of your friends that may lend from some of the stuff that we talk about or whatever, share it. Like share it, like and share the video to your friends if you think they're interested. Because I'm sure all of us are, struggling with some relationship problems at one end or the other. Anyway, let's get to it. All right. Look at they go, all impatient. No, I'm just playing. Okay. All right. So basically, I call this, I made up the name interracial dilemma because the guy who contacted me, I was happy to do this question because it was from a man. Y'all tell the brothers to ask questions too, because we all, like I said, we're just trying to put things on the table and see what's best. Not that one person or another knows best. We're just trying to discuss it. So, okay, he's a Caucasian brother, and he's married to a sister. So I'm going to read what he sent me. But I call it an interracial dilemma because it is a dilemma. All right. He says, my wife and best friend of 5 years has me now at the crossroads of my life in the worst way. She's 4 months pregnant, and she hands me the news of a lifetime. She tells me she hasn't been happy for a while and that she has been seeing an old boyfriend and that she's not sure if the baby is mine or his. She says she wants to work it out for the sake of our family, and that her telling me was her version of making good on our issues. I'm very upset about this, as it seems like a fear tactic rather than a confession, as she knows if I'm a white guy and he's a black guy, we would find out very shortly who the baby is. So she chose to take the coward route and hurt me before she could possibly get hurt if I left her. I'm extremely angry and I feel betrayed, but I love my wife, but I don't want to be a fool. Would I be less of a man if I stayed? Whew, that last one. He says, I love my wife, but I don't want to be a fool. Would I be less of a man if I stayed? Whew. Now this right here is I hate to, not anybody to experience something like that is not, it's not a good thing, especially under covenant. Someone's married and then you got to deal with this. You got to deal with, you don't know who the child is. Yeah, that's tough. It couldn't be me, because I would say you're going to go inside of yourself today and find out. But no, anyway, so the thing is this. I would say, this is tough. I'm always pro-covenant. I'm never going to tell somebody to leave their person, anything like that, because we got enough. It's enough of us single folks, people that ain't married, out here in the street. So we need as much covenant examples as possible, if there are some. But stump one. So okay, let me go ahead and like this. I think if people are fair, especially under the covenant guys, this sounds like, because he says she's her best friend and loves her to pieces. Okay, great. But if he's her best friends share. Best friends kind of nudge one another when one another are wrong, or one another's feeling faint. I'm fainting, I'm getting a little weak, I'm fading, the relationship isn't the same, whatever. So, this is an issue of culture. And I say this a lot. Look, love who you want. I don't care if they green, red, whatever. But when you do it, you have to consider the culture. If you're a black person and whatever other race that person is, both of you all got to have a realistic conversation. I know we may love one another and we may have whatever have brought us to this point is great. You still got to consider culture, because sometimes I always say your marriage is as strong as either one of you's backslide. Whatever your default weakness is, that's only as strong as your marriage is. However, you got to be real with your default backslide, like whatever that thing is that may pull you back that your spouse may not, be pleased with. And in this case, she's a sister, and I'm not saying by no means that women don't choose who they want to choose simply because, but I do know over a time or another, I have certainly heard my share of black women say stuff like, oh, if this isn't working out, or if this and this isn't going on, I'm going over to the other side. And it appears like it's a default decision, because if it was an option, look, I'm sure women, if they're attractive, they get approached by all types of races. But if you are saying no at a certain time, but then after hurt, you say yes, then that's a default position. And so if you decided to go to the other side as a default, then you got to ask yourself, am I realistically walking over here, or am I going over here for another reason because I want to see, forget about loving and holding the black man down. I just want to go over here and I'm going to do me because I heard they treat you real, respect you, do all these things. They have better credit, still whatever. All these stories that you hear, people have their reasons for going over there. Well, guess what? Let's just get a little ugly for a moment. Look, I'm not one to always go for all these myths and stories about sex with a white person or whatever other race versus a black person. Because I'm sure most of you in your life, if you've ever watched some type of porno flick, you've seen the white man maybe hold his own just like you've seen the black one in some cases. Just depends on the situation. Now, to the masses, it would appear that sisters, when it comes to the loving side, they prefer the black man. That's what it would appear. But so that means if you having trouble and you with a Caucasian brother and your wife, in your marriage or relationship, whatever, there is that chance that they may go right back across the bridge. And if they go back across the bridge, there are consequences that come with that crossing. Because once you go back over, you just may not make it back. But my point is this: with the guy, he's married. I mean, obviously, look, it says for better or for worse. I'm one of the old school folks. It says for better or for worse. This is worse. He's not in harm's way. Nobody's beating him up, holding him at gunpoint, or robbing him, and anything like that. But it is a messed up situation. Now, the old folks used to say back in the day, you don't have to leave him, but you don't necessarily, depending on what was happening at home. The old folks, I would hear them tell people at church that, of course, don't get a divorce, but they would say something like, you don't have to be in the same, you can kind of separate for a minute to get things together, cool off, and then come back, but not go separate and get divorced. That's what they used to say. But in this case, he's angry. And when you're angry like this, especially when it has to do with another man and your wife and a child, violence can ensue very quickly if you're not careful, especially if the wrong thing is said and if the person is recollecting on something that's real hurtful like this. This is real hurtful. This could go left. So I would encourage the guy to assess his level and be realistic. If you are in a ballistic state of mind, you may need to step away. But if you're not, just I don't know much what you can say at this point. I mean, if she's pregnant and if she's not sure, she's not sure. So at this point, you got to deal with the indiscretion of her cheating, talk about that, and try to heal from that. But as far as the child, you have to just assume the role as if it could be your child. She may be unsure, but you were involved too. So she may be your child. May not. We would hope it is. But if it's not, at this point, you have to assume it like it could be. Assume it until you know, because you don't know right now. The baby hasn't come out, and you don't know, all this kind of stuff. But as of this point, you don't know. So you got to assume it, because you are her husband. So you have to assume it like you her husband, and and deal with the infidelity portion. That's what you got to talk about. Why? Like, why, if you're my friend, why did you go miserable this long without nudging me? Why'd you walk around, because, you pretty much, when you live in a house with somebody and you're hungry, but you see food around, but you're not eating it, or something else is bothering you, and that you got to go outside the house, that's a problem, especially if you're living in the same house. So if you can't talk and say, this is wrong with me, I'm not getting fed, or this, that, and the other, talk and say that. Or just say, say ahead of time, I think we're in trouble. We need to go to a counselor because I'm really feeling like I'm straying. I feel like I'm going over here to the left, this, that, and the other, and this isn't working out for me. And I don't want to cheat on you because I love you as my husband. I don't want to do that. I know that's a raw conversation, but people need to have them kind of conversations. Because sometimes that's how a person will get it in their brain that I need to wake up and stop sleeping. Because, now in this case, I think I agree with him when he's saying about the part about telling me about I'm unhappy at 4 months of being pregnant. Girl, after 4 months of telling me you pregnant now, you knew at before you even came home pregnant that things were a little shady. So at that point you should have been thinking about that when y'all were going raw. This is terrible. So my point is, she should have said something a long time ago about the issue, not just, I think she probably got scared of the reality that it could very well be the other guy's baby. And you know how she probably got to that point? Because she probably was sleeping with him a lot more than she was her husband. That's how she got to that realization of thinking it could be his. That's whenever you hear those, I'm not sure who it is, you're not sure because somebody got a little more than the other. And it's a great chance that person may be the winner. So in this case, it's tough, man. It's like, I'm telling you, this is rough. But because it's his wife. And like you said, especially, here's the other side of it. I don't even know how this would go down if it was the opposite way around. If it were a black woman with a black man and cheated with a white guy, and she got pregnant, and with the white guy's baby, I don't know if Donnell would hang around. He probably would go, because Donnell don't want to deal with seeing the beige child come out, and he's black and she's black. He doesn't want to deal with that. So on this case, but on this side with him being like it is, it can be embarrassing. Like, here you are, he's a Caucasian guy, she's a black sister, sort of, let's just be honest. Not all families are welcoming of mixed marriages. They tolerate them, and they always say, well, we're happy for you, but behind your back, a lot of people be like, well, why couldn't they have married their kind? Because sometimes people realize that there are issues that come with culture exchange. We don't think about it, but it really is. There's a lot of issues that come with culture exchanges. But in this case, it is what it is. She's pregnant. You don't know whose child it is, so y'all have to deal with that. Like I said, my advice simply just, as a non-marriage counselor, is simply to just say, look, let's talk about the infidelity, because that's the main problem. The child is the product of the step out. That's just the product of the step out. But the issue is you stepped out, so we got to deal with the stepping out. That's what you got to talk to her about that. And if she says she want to stay for the sake of our family unit, but she needs to say, I want to stay because I love you. Don't just stay because of the sake of the family union, because guess what? The child going to get bigger and bigger, and then you're going to go back out to doing the same thing again if you don't stay for him. You say you want to stay and work it out, you better stay and work it out because you love him, because you married him first before the child. So you got to stay before you stay and say, hey, I'm staying because I want to work this out with you. I realized my mistake. I messed up. So I got to make good on it. I don't know what you want me to do, but I'm willing to do everything possible to keep our family together because I love you. You got to keep reinforcing to him, because I love you, because I love you. Because if you don't, you leave that space in there. The person, it's just, they're not going to get it, and they're going to feel like they're just collateral damage. What am I here for? And let's just be straight. A lot of times women don't understand sometimes, especially I had a friend of mine I used to work with at one of his companies, and he was married to a sister, and he was very overly candid. Like, we'd be at lunchtime and he'll be talking about different things about his wife, more than probably, I'm not saying, I've heard black men talk about their wives and complain too, but they'll talk about it kind of like more in private with people that they trust. Well, this guy, he's sitting at the lunch table talking about his wife in front of everybody, and I'm just like, well, just have some discretion. But he's talking and talking and talking, and he says, because everybody knew he had a black wife because she showed up to all the holiday gatherings and all this, that, and the other. But let him tell it. He said, I know my wife's using me because I'm the VP. He would joke about it, but he would say my wife is using me because I'm the VP. He felt like she chose him and started dealing with him because he had money, and that's probably, she wanted the mean side of him. Means, M-E-A-N-S, mean side of him. So that's what I think that's what he felt. And so, if I had to gamble, to be quite honest, when I saw the lady, I would probably have to agree. She was an attractive lady, and you look for couples, like when couples have money together and they both have similarities and commonalities, when you see them out, you're going to see a compliment between the two if it's legitimate. You're going to see a compliment on how he carries himself, how she carries himself, how she dresses, how he dresses. It's going to be a compliment. When you see somebody that's extreme left and the other person cares about their appearance, you are looking at a benefactor situation. This lady had all this Louis Vuitton, this, that, and the other, red bottoms, everything, and this guy had on Skechers. He just all khaki Skechers, doesn't match with what she's trying to do at all. She looked just like the woman you would see out at a function, somebody going to see Frankie Beverly and Maze, whatever. That's for the old heads. She looked like a person that would, you're gonna see out hanging out somewhere and be like, oh, she's stepping out, she looking nice in the colored scene. But she did not look like the wife of this guy. If you saw them next to each other, it just wouldn't make sense. He's a lot older than her. She's younger, very trendy looking, all these things, and it looks totally different from him. That's what made me just be like, well, where's the compliment of the chemistry? I didn't see it. So that's what made me kind of think it was, I'm just giving my opinion, it made me kind of feel like it was a benefactor. She found her a great sponsor. But in this situation, my friend, because I feel bad because he's looking now. So here's the thing. This is a very, I joke around because I try to kind of soften the blows. Sometimes I can say a lot of things a lot more harder than I do, but I don't, because I understand people are listening, people that ask the question. And so I try to lace it with comedy to make it a little light. But the reality is, it is their reality that is painful. It hurts. This is a real unfortunate thing for someone to bring unforeseen and a child into a marriage that, between two. An outside situation, as they call it, people joke, they call it side babies. But to make a long story short, if you love your wife, just be committed to that. This is how you're going to get through the pain. If you love your wife, and if she says she wants to love you and be there, rather than disseminating through all the maybe so's, how do you really love me, all that. If she says she really love you, then commit to that in your brain, that you love her too, and that you're gonna love her through her mistake. And sometimes look, sometimes some of these things that happen to us are extreme wake up calls. I'm not gonna I don't know your wife. So I'm not going to call her, say somebody is fast, you hoe, all these things. I don't know the lady, so I'm not going to speak on those things. So from my position, it just simply could be that you all had some marriage problems that you did not deal with. And in some cases for a woman to step out, unless she still was in love with her ex-boyfriend, that's plausible. But unless a woman was still in love with him and messing with him all along, if women go through all the trouble to cheat, it's usually something else wrong along the way. Only you know what that something is, but there's something along the way that was unaddressed and unmet. And so she reached her breaking point to take that risk. Now, I will tell you this, in considering the reconciliation and staying and whatever y'all plan to do, I hope that you stay and work it out. But you always got to say this: whenever there is a breach, there is a risk of it all. Understand this: whenever there is a breach, there is a risk of it all. That means at some point somebody says, I don't care if this crashes and burns or not. At the moment, this is what I want to do. And so sometimes at the moment, that's where we get all messed up, at the moment. Because people, that's why people have a hard time dealing with infidelity, because they're saying to yourself, I hear what you're saying, I get it. But at that moment, you risked all of this at the moment. So you got to say to yourself, talk to her about the moment. What is at the moment and why? Ask her why at that moment that you risked it. What did I do? And just be honest. Come to her honestly and just say, what did I do that caused you to arrive at a place such as at the moment? Why did you get to this place that you were willing to risk everything we have? Our family, unborn child, all of this thing is because he said that they have been trying for a while to have a kid. So that's the whole other thing. And so all this, now we're pregnant, but now we're unsure. So again, the risk was taken, so you need to deal with the risk. I would encourage people, when you're dealing with these kind of things, discuss the risk, because that's where the real conversation needs to be had. We do a lot of emotional fussing and yelling back and forth, and we want people to do different things to prove allegiances. Well, save yourself the trouble and just simply go straight to the person and ask them, why the risk? Why take the risk at the moment? What's that at the moment? At that moment, why was the risk that plausible and that worth it for you at that time? Why? That's what you want to know. And then you just build from there. So but you got to be prepared for whatever she tells you. She may tell you something that you're not going to like. This is realistic. It could be a gambit of things. You don't listen to me. I've been telling you I need help with doing this. I've been overwhelmed. You're not spending enough time with me. You're at your job 7 days a week, and I tell you I need you to be here with me. All the way from that to money, because money will do it. Money, and then last but not least, the biggest culprit in some cases is dissatisfaction in the bedroom. That'll make somebody go outside quick. Dissatisfaction in the bedroom, and that's just real talk. So again, my prayers go out to the brother, because he's a trooper, because he's still watching. I would have probably logged off, but he's watching. Prayers go out to you, brother, and it's bold. I love when men can come forward, because we don't have outlets. Like we don't bond on one another to get help like we do, like women do. Women, y'all can get hurt today, and if you pick up that phone and call your girlfriend, they're gonna be right on over there. Girl, what's going on? Let's go get something to eat. They're gonna do all that. Us, we get cheated on, or if we do something wrong, or if we've done something wrong, we stewing in our macho mess all alone. We don't go out and call our boy and be like, man, let's go talk. And that don't mean go get drunk or go do this. That just means you need to be coherent and talk. Coherent. That don't mean, because we always want to go, people want to go get drunk and drink. No, be sober minded and talk about what your problem is as a man to another man. And I applaud you for coming forward. You don't know me, but trusting me with your situation. Talk about it. I feel bad. It's not a good plight for anybody. As much as I talk to y'all about stuff in my life and imperfections and things I've done, trust and believe me, when I have had, even, how your parents tell you, y'all may think I'm being funny with them for real. You know how your parents would tell you when they would punish you, this hurts me more than it's going to hurt you. It's in a weird kind of way. When I used to let's just say this, when I found myself in the wrong concerning infidelity, it would tear me up internally, because I knew what I did was wrong, but I also knew that it was a struggle that I did not want to participate in. But my members spoke for themselves, but I really didn't want to hurt this person I was with. And so a lot of times we find ourselves in these situations, and then what happens is, if you are hurting, because if you love a person if you hurt them, you don't want to see them hurt. You definitely don't want to see them go through the motions and all these kind of things. So the hurt, you hurt because you know you hurt them. But this only happens for people that love people. Now, if you don't love someone, you just gonna do what you do and be selfish and move on. But if you love a person, you don't want to see them hurt, especially if you can reach in your bag and recollect what hurt feels like. Trust me, I remember sitting in the car just like yesterday. I'm just always bring on this one situation. I've been in situations where I've done my stuff and people have done theirs to me. But I remember one particular situation. Let me take my glasses off of this. I always tell the women this. Y'all always feel like y'all don't have the power and this, that, and the other. Let me tell you, if a woman confronts a man with her truth and looks him straight in his eyes, you got to be a strong man to swallow it, because it's not a good. It's when a woman can look you flat-footed and tell you her truth and then stand on it, even if you don't like it, you got to swallow that pill. I was in a situation where I was being a little, I was doing me, and I was in a relationship at the time, and I remember the person sitting next to me. I mean, she got in my car, rather. She was in her car. We had met to this one place to kind of talk. She got out her car, she got in, and we were talking, and I asked her the question. I said, so did you see him? My question was, did you see him? And she said, because we had like a break. We had like a break, like maybe a couple of weeks. And I asked her, did she go back to this particular person? And she looked, and she ain't give me no, sometimes women, when you ask them a question, don't ask nothing that you don't want the answer to. No, tell me. I don't want to hear all that. So she looked me straight in the face. She all just like this. She said, yeah, I did. I went back and I saw him and we slept together. And when she said that, woo, I said, oh, that was it. I was done for the decade. But the point was this was the fun. I will tell you the funny part of that story. And I'm going to be straight up. Man, I sat there in that car. You would have thought I was an infant spanked on the booty for the first time, because I was crying like a baby in the car, because I was like, oh. And guess what she gonna do? She gonna look over at me, and before I recognize, I told this story 2 years ago when I first started the radio show, but I'm in the car like this, I'm just like this, and all I remember her doing, I'm thinking that she's touching me because she's just like hugging on me, and she's like, oh, I feel bad. And so I had my eyes like this. I wasn't looking. She over there. She touching me like this. And I opened my eyes to kind of look and see what she was doing. She was trying to pray for me. I said, don't be trying to pray for me when you cheated. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, she talking about some Lord. No, you should have said Lord before you went to his house. Don't talk about some Lord. But anyway, so the point that I say all that, I'm joking, y'all, but it was for real. That was a real situation. And I never forgot that. I was like, whoo. Because most of the time when we hear about infidelity, we discover it. No one just don't come and tell you they did it. You discover it in most cases. So I don't know about most men, but if you experience a woman telling you to your face, it is something you will never forget. So I say that to my brother. I hope I made him laugh too, if he's looking. But I say that to just simply say to my brother that's watching, look, you can overcome infidelity. You can talk about it. It is unfortunate. It will be unfortunate if the child is not your child. But you told God at the beginning that I want to love this woman for better or for worse. And it's unfortunate that sometimes we resort to situations where we really, really get messed up and we make bad decisions. But again, the covenant decision you made was better or for worse. If she still wants to be with you, if she still wants to love you and keep your family unit intact, whether it's your child or not, it's a hard pill, but it's your wife. And if it's your wife, you got to just man up and forgive her. That's a tough word, but you got to forgive her. And of course, have that conversation, and there will be no more third parties if we're going to do this. The third party has to cease. Can't be I'm forgiving you, but then you go, as soon as after the child is born, you still creeping with the guy. I forgot to mention that part. So in your forgiveness and all that, you have the third party conversation after you have the at the moment conversation. Then let's go to the third party. No more third party. No more third party. That's it. He's out. If we're going to build this. Can't be the third party if we're going to build it. Because if not, it's just going to be, it's going to be a bad situation all over again. And so, with that being said, just like I said, just tell your wife that you can, people don't understand that you can love the hell out of some people. You really can. If you love people right, you can love the hell right out of them. It just takes a wise person to do it. But you can love the hell out of a person, and you can forgive them to a point where they are confounded. They're confused because they know that they don't deserve it. But that forgiveness can turn into a healing balm between the both of you all that can be powerful. So this is a bad situation. It's ugly, but learn from it and stay in your commitment if she wants to. I keep saying, if she wants to stay with you, stay in your commitment if you love her. Don't walk off. Just man up and keep the mindset that even though there is a possibility, but right now the only issue that you're really dealing with is the fact of infidelity. You can't bring the kid part into it yet until the child is born. But so as of right now, the woman you got, let's just say the woman you got pregnant, cheated. It is a little hazy. So deal with that part, and then we'll see when the child comes out, inbox me a picture and we'll go get them together. Anyway, all right, guys, have a great day. Love y'all. Thanks. Appreciate y'all supporting. And I will be back tomorrow, 8:15 sharp. Bruce, what's going on? All right, take care, y'all.